Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out ALGORAND's price chart. And as you probably sensed by the tone of my voice, I think we are now seeing some very much optimistic signs indicating hopefully the bottom is in, and probably we are going to have some strong moves on the upside in the short to midterm. So, are you ready? Let's dive in and see what is going on. And if you remember the last time that we talked about algo, we specifically, I think, were right in here, and the idea was that if we want to be bullish, this move up has to continue and maybe even accelerate some more. And I think specifically we said if in the next 48 to 72 hours we see like a 23-24 cents algo, that can be like a really good sign suggesting the bottom is there. Why? Simple reason. You see, my field of works, for those of you who are new viewers, is Elliott Waves. And if you want to say, for example, we're going to have our final low around this region, maybe this is like a very important support. And in case of Algorand, it is indeed a very important support. Then, okay, find me off of the lowest low, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up in order for me to be able to say, you know what, fair enough, maybe the bottom is it. This specific count is called an impulse. Rules for it are, we should not have overlapping of the waves between wave 2 and 4, and in any kind of 5 wave, or wave 3 is simply not allowed to be the smallest wave, excuse me. That's actually a big no-no in Elliott's wave. Now, when it comes to the subwaves, if you are a regular viewer, you know what I'm about to say. We have to have 5 wave up into wave 1, 3, and 5, and for wave 2 and 4, we can have so many different scenarios. Let's say, for instance, in this case, maybe an ABC into wave 2 and like a WXY into wave 4. Now let's go on the live chart and see why was it that we specifically said we have to go up some more in Algorand. You see, it's very important to note that between all the lows in here, the lowest one is this thing right in here. And we said, well, okay, off of it, we can argue that this is, excuse me, what just happened, 5 wave up to about probably this point and not the highest high into a wave 1, followed by an ABC flat into wave 2, a strong move up into wave 3, correction for 4, another move up into wave 5. And well, since back then when we were right around here, we didn't even complete the subwaves for this wave 3. I was like, well, okay, you know what? Probably in the next 12 to 24 hours, we are going to have a 1, 2, 3 correction for 4, and we are going to see another move up into wave 5. But then we want to see a consolidation pattern followed by another move on the upside. So what happened? We got our move up, and I got a lot to talk about in this phase. Let's just delete some waves. Okay, so I think you can say that this is 1, 2, wave 3 to about this point, correction for 4, another move up into wave 5. I'm going to say probably 2 around here, followed by that, this is our correction for 4, another move into wave 5, and this can be, excuse me, let's just take this one, okay, like a correction structure in form of a flat, and followed by that, this can also be another 5 wave on the upside. Now, here's the situation. Based on what we just talked about, I think in Algorand, we can say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to about this point and not the highest side, meaning what? Yep, we probably have hit our final low all the way down here. But question for you, does this mean right now we should be 1000% bullish and call for a huge bull run starting effective immediately? Nope, I don't think so. Why? Because whenever you are hitting the lows, usually after it, it's going to take some time to build a bit of a bullish setup. And by a bullish setup, I essentially mean having 5 up into 1 and correction for wave 2, which at that point is going to lead to a massive bull run into wave 3 and 4 and 5. And at best in Algorand, I think right now we are in the process of building 5 up into 1, and what's next? You know it, a correction for wave 2, and then assuming that we identify all the right subwaves in here, we can expect a huge bounce into wave 3 and 4 and 5. But you know, it sure as hell is nice to see that we are absolutely on the bullish track in here. Now, let's go around this area. You see, in this specific region, you can consider many different possibilities. For instance, you can say that I am wrong, and instead of this point, this is the end of your wave 4. And honestly, I'm not really sure about the shape of our pattern. Maybe like an A, B, C, D, E, a triangular structure. Even that is going to look a bit odd. But let's just go with it and say this is the end of your wave 4 and another move up into wave 5. In that scenario, I actually expect our move down in algo to continue to about these levels. And for example, I can tell you we are having maybe an ABC zigzag, and for the subwaves, you know it. 5 down into A, corrective movement into B, let's say an ABC this time, and another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down into C. Now, let's go on the live chart and see what is going on in this region. So I think we can all agree that this is absolutely a 5-wave down, followed by that we are having a correction up. This can be another, excuse me, let's just take this one, like 1, 2, 3, 4. 5-wave down into wave 3, correction for 4, and we are having another move down into this wave 5 right in here. Now, here's a very important point. In case the end of your wave 5 is around here, then okay, this is going to be into an A leg, and guess what? Soon in Algorand, I do believe that we are going to get a move on the upside, and maybe according to at least this count, that's going to be into like wave B, and then what we are going to have next, another move down into our C leg. Now, I want to be very clear, just because I said we might be headed lower doesn't necessarily mean that we are looking bearish. No, as long as we are going according to this pattern, this, let me be very clear, is an insanely bullish setup. And right around the lows, if I see the correct subwaves, I'm actually going to probably open some long positions in Algorand in the short term. Am I going to buy it though? Probably not. I mean, my average purchase is somewhere around 10 cents region, and I bought my Algorand, I think it was like about a year and a half ago. So, buying around 20 cents is a little bit tough for me, but definitely, if I see the right subwaves, I am going to open some long positions. And for example, my stop loss can be under the lows, or preferably even under this very, very important support, which the lower band of it is about 19 cents area. So, let's say my stop loss is going to be about 18 cents. At that point, what's going to be my target? Well, the bare minimum one, I think, can be somewhere around the previous major pivot high in here, about 25.5 cents. So let's say I'm going to open my long around 21.5 cents. At that point, I'm going to have about like a 2 cents stop loss. However, on the other hand, I'm going to have about, a 4.5 cents target, meaning my risk to reward ratio is going to be somewhere around 1 to 2, which is definitely not that bad. And sure, maybe this trade is not really going to end up well for me, but if I choose trades like this long enough, at the end, on the margin, I am actually going to end up making a good bit of money, because let's be honest, odds are going to be with me if I want to go according to this specific strategy. Now, can we have another scenario? The answer is yes, but before I talk about that, let me tell you this. In case that this ABC is in play, in the coming bounce in algo, you want to see a very, very slow and choppy move on the upside, which this whole phase is going to take some more time relative to this specific phase. Now, if you see this, okay, count on this ABC to play out. On the other hand, though, there is a chance that we are actually going to have a very strong bounce, and that leads me to this count indicating, like we said it also at the beginning of the video, that this point, excuse me, is the end of your wave 4. This is another move up into wave 5, meaning from this high, we can consider the possibility of having an ABC in form of an expanded flat, which looks like this. This is our initial move down into a correction for wave B, which in it we're going to take this initial high, and then a rather strong move down into C, and in it we are going to take the lowest low down here, the low of our wave A. Now, in terms of the sub waves, it's actually a little bit different than an ABC zigzag. ABC into A, ABC into B, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down into C. Now, again, if you want to say we have hit the top of our wave 5 at this point, then okay, you can very much say that this is an A, B, C in form of a zigzag down, followed by that an A, B, C on the upside, and this can be a 5-wave down, meaning what? Yup, these are the subwaves for an ABC flat, and this is actually the difference between this and the previous count and how exactly you are able to find which scenario is happening. You see, both of these counts do suggest that in the short term, after maybe some more downward price action in the next 12 to 24 hours, we are going to have a bit of a bounce. However, the shape of the bounce according to each scenario is going to be very, very different. In case that from here you see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave, a very strong move up without a lot of overlapping of the waves, at that point count on this ABC flat to play out, and maybe we are having, excuse me, 5 wave up into a wave 1 and correction for wave 2 to already around this point, meaning what's next? Yup, probably a huge move up into wave 3 and 4 and 5. Believe it or not, in Algorand, we can indeed be that bullish, but it doesn't really mean that we should immediately count on this structure. No, let's just wait a bit more and watch the coming bounce that we are going to get very, very closely, and pay full attention to the shape of it, okay? The bounce itself, I don't really think it's honestly tradable, and it doesn't really matter. It's the shape of it that is going to determine potentially what might be next. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Algorand's price chart. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.